Before you scroll past this, there is something extremely important you need to understand. A new federal tracking rule has officially been implemented, and it directly affects millions of retired and disabled Americans. Most people have absolutely no idea this change has already happened. This is not a proposal, not a rumor, and not something being debated behind closed doors. It is active law, and it officially takes effect on December 26, 2025. At first glance, you might think this is nothing new. Many people assume the government already monitors travel and personal information, so it may not sound alarming. But this rule is very different from anything that existed before, and it deserves your full attention. It specifically targets individuals who receive Social Security retirement benefits, disability benefits, and supplemental security income. If you travel outside the United States, even for legitimate and necessary reasons, this new system can directly impact your payments. In some cases, benefits can be suspended. In more severe situations, they can be stopped entirely. That is why it is so important to understand exactly what this rule does, who it affects, and how it may impact your life. Imagine taking a vacation, visiting family overseas, or traveling for medical treatment, only to return home and discover your income has been cut off. For many people who depend on these benefits, that kind of interruption could be devastating. The government has quietly expanded its ability to track foreign travel for people receiving benefits. This change allows Social Security to directly access detailed travel records collected by the Department of Homeland Security. Every time someone leaves the country or re-enters, that information is recorded automatically. The system logs departure dates, return dates, and duration of travel. Social Security can now use this data to determine whether someone remains eligible for their benefits. In the past, the system relied largely on self-reporting. Beneficiaries were expected to notify Social Security if they left the country for extended periods. Many people forgot, misunderstood the rules, or never realized reporting was required. Others chose not to report their travel because they feared losing their benefits. Under the old system, enforcement was inconsistent and limited. That is no longer the case. According to official policy language, this change was made because oversight agencies repeatedly criticized Social Security for relying on individuals to report their own travel. The government now believes too many improper payments were being made. Rather than asking beneficiaries to disclose travel, they are now automatically tracking it through federal databases. For United States citizens receiving retirement or disability benefits under the traditional Social Security system, short trips outside the country are generally not a problem. Traveling for a few weeks, even up to about a month, does not affect payments. People can still take vacations, visit relatives, or handle personal matters abroad without interruption to their benefits. Longer travel, or even permanent relocation outside the United States, is also permitted for most citizens receiving retirement or disability benefits. In many cases, benefits can continue indefinitely, even if someone chooses to live abroad. However, there are important exceptions. Certain countries are considered restricted, and payments may be stopped if someone lives in or moves to one of those locations. These restrictions are based on diplomatic, legal, and security concerns, and the list of restricted countries may expand in the future. For those living abroad long-term, Social Security may periodically send eligibility questionnaires. These forms are used to confirm that the beneficiary is still alive, still eligible, and not earning income that would disqualify them from receiving benefits. Failure to respond to these requests can result in suspended payments, even if the person is otherwise eligible. The rules become much stricter for non-citizens receiving retirement or disability benefits. If a non-citizen leaves the United States for a short period, benefits may continue without issue. However, if the individual remains outside the country for 6 consecutive calendar months or longer, payments generally stop unless specific exceptions apply. Some individuals may qualify for continued benefits if their home country has a formal agreement with the United States or if they have accumulated sufficient work credits. When benefits stop due to extended travel, restarting them is not automatic. The individual must return to the United States and remain for a full calendar month before payments can resume. A brief visit is not enough. Country-specific rules also apply, making it essential for non-citizens to understand how travel may affect their benefits before leaving. The strictest rules apply to recipients of Supplemental Security Income. This program has very limited tolerance for foreign travel. Any full calendar month spent entirely outside the United States results in ineligibility for that month. If someone remains outside the country for more than 30 consecutive days, payments are suspended. Benefits do not resume until the person returns to the United States and remains for a full 30 consecutive days. There are only a few narrow exceptions, such as certain military-related circumstances or specific educational programs. For most recipients, leaving the country for more than a short period results in an immediate loss of benefits. Permanent relocation outside the United States leads to full termination of supplemental security income, with no reinstatement unless the person permanently returns. The timing of this rule raises serious questions. The policy itself acknowledges that presidential budget requests over the past decade have repeatedly recommended the use of foreign travel data to reduce improper payments. This means the system has been planned for years, but only now has it been fully implemented. One likely reason for the timing is financial pressure. The Social Security trust funds face long-term funding challenges, and policymakers are searching for ways to reduce costs. Improper payments are an easy target. By tracking travel automatically, the government can identify individuals who are no longer eligible and stop payments quickly. There is also an uncomfortable reality that many people were receiving benefits while living abroad without proper reporting. Some individuals moved back to their home countries while continuing to collect payments. Others misunderstood the rules or failed to comply. With modern tracking technology, the government now has the ability to enforce rules that were previously difficult to monitor. This raises concerns about privacy and fairness. Tracking every international movement of seniors and disabled individuals feels intrusive to many people. Although the government argues this is necessary to prevent fraud, it also means that beneficiaries have little control or transparency. Individuals cannot easily access their own travel records through Social Security and must instead go through other federal agencies. Errors in data could lead to suspended payments with little warning. There is also concern about how this information might be used beyond travel eligibility. For example, disability recipients may worry that travel activity could be interpreted as evidence that they are less disabled than claimed. Sitting on a long flight, sightseeing, or engaging in physical activity abroad could potentially be scrutinized during benefit reviews. At the same time as the travel tracking expansion, another major policy change has taken effect. Non-citizens receiving supplemental security income are now subject to mandatory immigration status verification through a federal system operated by the Department of Homeland Security. This verification is required for new applications, ongoing eligibility reviews, and any changes in status. Previous guidance allowed some cases to be approved based on document appearance alone. That is no longer allowed. Every non-citizen must now be verified through federal databases. This change is expected to result in many individuals losing benefits due to documentation errors, sponsorship issues, or past approval mistakes. This is not about politics or ideology. These changes are happening now, and they affect real people who depend on these benefits to survive. Regardless of personal opinions, understanding the rules is essential. If you plan to travel outside the United States, it is critical to know exactly how the rules apply to your specific benefit type and citizenship status. Do not assume that what applies to one person applies to everyone. Keep detailed records of travel dates and destinations. Respond immediately to any requests for information from Social Security. For non-citizens, ensure immigration documentation is accurate and up to date. It is also wise to be cautious about what you share publicly. Social media posts can sometimes be used during eligibility reviews. Living your life is important, but awareness is equally important. These changes signal a broader shift in how benefits are administered. Increased monitoring, stricter enforcement, and greater use of technology are likely to continue. Whether this approach is fair or excessive is open to debate, but ignoring it is not an option. This system places a heavy burden on beneficiaries to remain informed and compliant, even as transparency remains limited. When benefits are suspended, the consequences can be immediate and severe. Understanding these rules now can help prevent unexpected disruptions later. Staying informed is no longer optional. It is essential for protecting your financial stability and peace of mind. It is essential for protecting your financial stability and peace of mind.